We should be live. Everything should be underway. And yes, I am going to be using my odorless skillet on my new stove. We'll get into this in a little bit. I had to take my potato out a bit early. Starting to get a little bit overdone. I like my potato skins nice and crispy, but carbonized isn't quite what I'm after. Anyway, let me get over here, get set up. This won't be a real long cooking segment. Duck under the boom, drag my butcher block over. But yes, I'm going to be using my odorless skillet. There's a lot of different designs of these. They call them odorless skillets or smoke-free skillets. And this is a fairly common one. It's got little vents around the outside. The idea is you put it over an open eye on the stove, and it will, the draft of the stove will draw any smoke down and out through the chimney. Now, the eyes on this stove are a bit bigger than on my other stove. My other stove, they're a little too small to really use this. These are bigger, but not quite bigger enough. Ideally, you would want something that's just a shade smaller than the outside rim of this so that everything is exposed underneath. But it should work a little better than it did on my other stove. Let me bank some of these coals up to this end. Now with these, you would close off the draft air, open up your damper so that it would draw, my fire pulled to the front, so that it would draw through the holes around the skillet. And that's what we're going to do. As soon as I get this back on. It's hot in here. It's a fairly warm day. Last time we were here, it was 30 below in the morning. Today it got up to 40 degrees above. So temperatures are kind of all over lately. There we go. That should be a decent pile of coals underneath there. So I'm going to put this a little bit off center so that it can draw as much as possible. Already pretty warm. I got a nice little New York strip. I'm going to salt and pepper that quick. And I'm going to have to be speedy here because I can see already this is starting to scorch. Come on. You can see it drawing a little bit around the sides, but still not the best it should be. Get some pepper on the other side. And on we go. Like I said, I had to take my potato out a bit early because it's starting to get a little too dark on the one side. Get this dirty plate out of the way. These odorless skillets were popular from about 1880 up until maybe 1920 or so. After that, they kind of faded out as wood cook stoves became less and less common. You started getting more and more gas stoves and eventually electric stoves. And since you didn't have a stove or didn't have a wood stove, a wood fire with a draft going for it, it's really kind of pointless on a gas stove. But they are popular items. There's some that they look like a skillet that has a little chimney by the handle, and those would work with a cover better. These, in theory, would work better with a, with a stove like this. Like I said, the eye is still a little bit small. for really getting the most out of this. But I can see there's a fair bit of space around it, at least on this side. And it does draw some into there, but with the splatter getting out onto the flat part of the skull, it's not quite ideal. What are we doing for searing? Ooh, that's seared plenty good. Get that side searing along. Like I said, this should only take a minute or two. I'm going to start getting my potato ready. It's cooled off a bit to where I can handle it. Get that mashed up, get some butter and sour cream on that potato. Yeah, I cooked a little too fast. Big potato, so it's a little bit tough on the inside, but overall it ain't too bad. Got butter in there, get that going. One nice thing about having your stove insanely hot, it definitely sears a steak good. That needs to be a little bit more done than that, but not much. A little sour cream. I like the sour cream in these kind of toothpaste tube sort of things. Keeps it from separating out too bad. And it keeps it fresh longer. Doesn't get exposed to air. I do use a fair bit of sour cream, but not so much that it can't go bad on me if I ain't watching. I'd say we're just about done with steak. But in any event, might even be a little bit overdone, but we'll see. Okay, I need to get this out of the way. Ooh. I'm going to wipe that stove off a little bit. Just take a piece of paper towel. And very quickly wipe the extra grease off. Throw that in, let it burn. And now it's time to go ahead and move the camera around. So, time for a little darkness. Let's see, I'm going to drive this out of the way. I'm going to move my microphone first, so it's out of the way. So you're going to hear some bumping and thumping. There we go. Get the camera. shift and shuffle around. I gotta flip the camera around on the mount. It's never simple, but it's worthwhile. That should be fairly good there. Mike's in a decent spot. And kill the excess lights. Okay, I gotta plug in another light. Jeez. I think I'd be ready for this sort of stuff by now. A little thrilling dead air while I move stuff around. All right. There we go. Get that cord out of my way. But you're supposed to let steaks and meat and things like that rest for a bit before you start eating them anyway. Ooh, there we go. There we are. And there's the final product. Got a nice little, like I said, nice little New York strip and a baked potato. Where'd the cat go? She's around. There she is. She's just off camera. Set this over on the side here. Just finished watching the end of Monty Python, The Holy Grail. I haven't watched that in a while. I'll have to do that again one of these days. A little bit overdone. More of a medium than a medium rare. But that's okay. I do like cooking on that odorless skillet. But like I say, you don't get the fullest effect out of it with the eye being a bit small. And they're only so effective. When you start getting a lot of splatter on the stovetop, it isn't going to draw much of that in anyway. But overall, they're fairly useful, and there's quite a bit of demand for them. They're not a very common item. The patent date on that, it says patented 1893, and that particular one was supposedly made by Griswold, although there's some debate on whether it actually was or not. Could very well be. It's a pretty high quality type of, it's high quality work. Definitely something that Griswold could have made. So I'll just kind of go with the idea that it was, whether it actually was or not. But yeah, that definitely turns out good. And when you got a insanely hot wood stove like that, it sears really nice. No, it's not quite as overdone as I thought it was. Ran over to the next town with because the guy said he had a number 4 bottom close to the handle. Thought it was a BSR 4. It was a 3-notch lodge with a 4 mold mark. Yeah, you see that a fair bit with even new lodges because they still do use the abbreviation SK on most of their skillets and the skillet size, but it's in small small lettering and it's part of the logo. But there's also a mold number in there, so a lot of times it'll be, you know, people listed as a lodge number 10, even though it's a number 8. Let me back up a little bit here. Does anyone know what sizes the favorite skillets that Columbus Hollowware made are? Not offhand. Yeah, I've seen mostly 8s, but of course you would. I've seen some 9s. I think I've seen some 9s. But I can't say for sure what else they might have made. Anyone have night vision goggles? It wouldn't help because it's a little cover that flips down over the lens. And it, even though you end up with some dead air, it seems to be a bit better than swinging the camera wildly around the room as I'm carrying it from behind me, set up pointing at the stove and getting it swung around here. Marketplace said they had a Lodge 56. It was a modern 8 with a 56 mold mark. Yeah, like I said, you do see that now and then, but didn't say hi to everybody. Got Billy Lee, Rick Stambaugh, Dan, he's here, Og Wild, Chris Salverson, William Hurt. Cast Iron Chaos is here tonight. Fuzz Fork, Billy Lee, Cynthia, all the usual suspects. PM Farm, good to see you. Haven't seen you around before. Yeah, and I got that number 7 Lodge waffle iron that Huey sent. That came in yesterday or this morning, depending on how you want to look at it. Should be able to get it done up this week. Going to weld the handle back on. It's going to be a little tricky. I mean, it's real thin. Waffle irons look like they're fairly substantial, but most of it is actually pretty thin iron. Columbus Hollowware made the usual griddles. Oops, skipped ahead here. Kettles, long griddles, as well as skillets, but I've never seen anything but an 8. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've seen. I could swear I saw a 9, but I could be wrong. But 8s I know. But hopefully I should get that done this week, and I'll probably hang on to it and show it to you on the next show, and then send it back. Dripping sweat right in my ear. Should probably, like I said, I'll show you guys how it turns out next week, and then send it back from there. I don't usually eat a whole lot on a show, or when I make a video, I'll take a taste of things, but this time I'll probably eat most of this, nibbling away here as we go. What's the difference between Alaska handles and handles with the screw in? Alaska handles are the twisted coil spring kind of handles. I got a couple of them, but not within arm's reach. And the other ones were wooden handles. But yeah, the Alaska handles are just the twisted wire ones. A little bit there. I'll take another bite here. But that really turned out nice. I found a Ballrath #8 chicken fryer in the Goodwill over there. Oh, that's cool. You don't see a lot of don't see a whole lot of Ballrath chicken fryers. You do see them around. I like the lids on them because those are usually the ones that they cast Ballrath wear in big letters on the inside of the lid, and they use the letters for their grip points. You know, where Lodge has the little spikes and BSR has the dimples. Ballrath used their name for it. Yeah, cool. How they get the name calling them Alaska handles? I don't know. Some guy in marketing, I suppose. I have 8, 9, 11, and 12, the favorite skillets. Just curious what other sizes were made. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I've seen 8s, but and I guess 9s do exist, so I probably did see a 9. The other ones I just don't know. But if they made an 11 and a 12, it's probably a safe bet. They made like 3s, 5s, and 7s too. Maybe 6s, 4s, maybe not. It's less likely. But it's good. There's probably a good. I would just about guarantee if they made that many different sizes, they made a #5 at the very least and a #3. I have a question. You have a number 768 Griswold square handle. Handle is off the corner style, perfect condition with a lid. I know it's worth what a person would pay. What would you pay? Uh, with a lid really runs the price up on them because the square lids are tough to find. The bare skillets alone, I see going for around 300 a lot of times. But with a lid, well, maybe 250 probably be a little better guess for the skillet by itself. But with a lid, usually you're getting up around 400 for a lot of those. It's just because the lids are a lot harder to find. You found a My Pet Dutch oven, no lid in the wild this week. Two nice Le Creuset, a 30 and a 24. Yeah, the Le Creuset are usually pretty nice. I mean, they made pretty much everything. I mean, they made skillets and all kinds of different bakeware. They're most famous for their enameled bakeware, different Dutch ovens and different sizes and shapes of casserole dishes and things like that, and cast iron. Made some really pretty colors, and some of them are really collectible just for the colors that have been made and discontinued over the years, and they were always expensive to begin with. Did I get rid of my rooster? No, my magnificent cocky ain't going anywhere. Should have been able to see it. I thought you could just see it. He was just on screen while I was cooking over there. I did move him back a little bit. I've been moving stuff around lately. I should get him a little bit more out into the public view. I'm gonna post a picture on my page of it. Ah, cool. Are there two types of Alaska coil handles? Uh, I mean, there's variations between makers exactly how they made them, but that's generally, they're generally pretty similar. I think with like the Stover, they were a little more kind of bulbous towards the end, a little bigger towards the end, where the Griswolds were more the same size all the way through. I'd have to actually look at them. I got a Stover sitting here that I can't quite reach, and yeah, it's got kind of it's bigger towards the ends of the handle, but I can't see any of my Griswold ones with the wire handles right here. Oh, yeah, I can. Well, what is that? Well, that's an Anderson. Yeah, and some of them are more straight, the same diameter all the way through, but it more varies by brand, I think, than different ones. Let's see. Cut back up here. You don't need to see it. Oh, when you got a magnificent cock like that, you want everybody to see it. I mean, you want to share, and it's kind of hard to hide anyway. Get some more potato here before it gets cold. JIR, JIR is making some whole wheat bread in a cast iron Dutch oven. Your third loaf from scratch. Once you get the hang of making bread from scratch, it's really easy. I mean, it's not terribly difficult. I mean, there's a lot of different things, a lot of subtle differences. The way you knead it, things like that, or if you don't need it at all. How much hydration. There's all kinds of things like that. But just a basic sandwich bread or a basic whole wheat bread, real simple. I do most of mine. I don't really knead it by hand. I just do it in the mixer, and it comes out really nice. I like the newer Lodge large loaf pan. Uh, I've seen Lodge loaf pans, kind of a standard bread size. I don't know if I haven't seen anything noticeably bigger. I've seen a lot of the really little small ones too. Finally got a KitchenAid mixer. They're damn handy, and there's so many attachments, different meat grinders and pasta rollers and apple peelers, all kinds of stuff you can attach to them. About 2 inches longer. Yeah, that'd be handy for a lot of stuff. I would think. I haven't gone out and looking at it. 2 inches makes a difference. Oh yeah, now you're gonna come up here, ain't you? You silly cat. Try and eat with one hand and fend off the cat with the other. But you'll have to have some. Maybe I can distract her. I don't want that bit. Here. No, we'll get too close to my plate. There you go. There. Keep it busy for a couple of seconds. Yeah, that 2 inches does make a hell of a big difference. You got your KitchenAid mixer off shop at Goodwill. It's almost new, but from 1990. I'm trying to remember how old mine is. It's got to be getting close to. You got to be getting close to 10 years old now, and works just great. Do you hear water running? No, it's probably the fan in the bathroom, or could even be the fan in the living room, but more likely just a fan somewhere. Got your KitchenAid mixer for $50. That's a hell of a good deal on them. I mean, they usually go for a lot more than that. There's several different sizes and variations, but I can't remember what they cost new generally. I want to say like 250 around here for most of them. But yeah, there's different sizes. Some of them have a little bit more more powerful motors than others. That's something you'll kind of want to look at too. You know, the stronger the motor you can get, the better off you're going to be. Been watching a lot of videos. They're easy to fix, and you want a new meat grinder for it? That's even better. Your KitchenAid's around 25 years old, still works great. Yeah, I mean they hold up really good. Yeah, you paid 250 for yours several years ago. Yeah, like I said, I mean, then there's like I say, there's different sizes. There's 5-quart bowls and the 7-quart. You know, mine is it's the smaller bowl but a bigger motor, so it works pretty good for kneading bread. And it's the one where it tilts up, where the whole mixer tilts up, instead of the ones that have the little bowl lifter thing. I think Cast Iron Chaos did a video on repairing KitchenAid. They're not terribly difficult, you know, as long as you understand the idea of a planetary gear, and they're real easy for changing the brushes in them. You know, that's one of the things that will eventually wear out is the brushes in the motor, and those are pretty easy to change. Got so many attachments: the ice cream maker, meat grinder, grain mill. Yeah, there's all kinds of different ones. Messed yours up and take it to be professionally cleaned. Well, if you ain't using them, you ain't getting them dirty. And if you ain't breaking something, you probably ain't trying to fix it either. The mixer wouldn't work for you, as I just learned to work the microwave. I've seen some videos on YouTube, and there's a few people that do it. They do nose art like they used to do on World War II airplanes, bombers, and things like that. And they'll do that on a KitchenAid mixer, and some are really cool. Let's see, yours is the shiny white one, bigger motor and a lift bowl. Can't wait to use it. I see every now and then on some of the auctions that I keep an eye on, you'll see the big Hobart, more of a commercial kitchen mixer. Hobart is actually the original parent company of KitchenAid. So they're both basically the same thing, but you get something with a 3/4 horse motor on it and, bowl about the size of a wash tub. And a little bit more than I need, but still it's tempting sometimes just to get one just for the sake of it. Saw one color of my stove. That'd be cool. Yeah, most of my appliances are black. But it would be kind of cool to start getting stuff that kind of matches the stove as things eventually wear out and die off. I have a 30-quart bowl for a Hobart outside, nearly new shape. Saw a guy convert one to make kettle corn. Yeah, you can do that. Like I say, there used to be some, them big industrial bakery kitchen mixers like that. And some of them get dangerously big. Definitely not a machine you'd want to get caught up in. Had some the size of a Pinto at the prison. They made a lot of bread. Yeah, they can really get huge. Cat still playing with a piece of steak. I seriously considered paying $900 for a refurbished Hobart, but decided against it. Yeah, like I say, I've seen some at auctions that pretty decent shape and decent price, and it's tempting, but yeah, some were just a little bit too. I don't know where the hell I put the damn thing, but and I usually don't make more than a loaf of bread at a time, so it'd be really pointless. But it's still hard to pass it by for some reason. Maybe you had a big one, maybe 30, but up on the tender head one you can sit on the bowl. Yeah, some of them are, like I say, they get damn big when you start running 480 volt 3-phase power to run your mixer. You're not just screwing around. I'm glad you don't bake. Y'all are some serious about tools. Yeah, it's pretty fascinating machinery involved in some of that stuff. Especially you start getting into a, more commercial type of things. When you get to the point where you have walk-in ovens, you're getting serious about baking. Yeah, come here, you. No, not that one. Give me another piece. There you go. Go get it. Go get it. But yeah, when you got walk-in ovens where you just wheel in 6-foot tall racks of pans to bake up, then you're definitely getting out of hand. Go eat your steak, you silly beast. There's cats starving in Africa tonight. You can eat the rest of your supper. One thing you haven't had an urge to get is a pizza oven. Take up too much room and not get much use. Yeah, they're handy. You'd be surprised what you can make in a pizza oven. We've got one at work, and we got some little flat trays that just fit inside. And I found a square cast iron baking dish that's about 9 inches square. And it'll just slide through the slot in the pizza oven, and you'd be surprised at some of the things you can make in them. But yeah, generally it's not really something you need unless you eat a lot of pizzas. I gave you a piece, but you just got to have mine. You silly cat. Worse than a kid. Need a wood burning stove. Yeah, they're nice. I mean, it's hard not to love them. Got a pizza oven, your stove oven. Got a pizza steel, works very well, very heavy though. Uh, Big round baled griddles work nice for pizza pans. I was told in aircraft carrier they did have a closet size oven. You rolled in racks of meat, but they feed 4,000 at a time. Yeah, I mean some of the really big, the big commercial stuff is no, just no. Sitting on my desk trying to reach over and get my steak, and you got a piece of meat on the floor. Any recommendations for antique pepper grinders? Picked up some long pepper and need a grinder. Uh, Not offhand. For the long peppers, you could probably use an antique coffee grinder, like the wall mount, or even the ones that have a little drawer underneath of them. I think a coffee grinder would probably work better for those, the burr type, because you'd be able to get the the longer pieces into it. Has anyone ever made a clay oven? Townsend's made one. Didn't look too hard. Be fun to use. No, I haven't. Haven't really had a need to make a clay oven, but I know I've seen that video, and definitely be a useful thing out in the wilderness. Got enough crap in your kitchen. You start a small restaurant, had a milk making machine, one of those drink machines with a clear top and the aerator. Forget what they were called. Yeah, I know what you talk about. Usually had orange drink in it. Ran bakery's department with those big mixers and the walk-in ovens years back. Can pump out some product. Yeah, I mean we got a 6 foot tall, 3 foot square rack wheeled into the oven. You got like 6 or 8 of them in the oven at a time. You can definitely bake some stuff in a hurry. Got no more room for storage above your cabinets for all your gadgets. Yeah, I mean the kitchen appliances and gadgets can definitely get out of hand pretty quick. But still, some of them are just so damn cool. You got to try it. A little bristly bit there. Anyway, yeah. Kind of rambling on about commercial ovens and such, but found out one thing about collecting cast iron: lack of storage plagues us all. Yeah, there just ain't nearly enough room for the things you end up acquiring. What's my most useful kitchen gadget? Uh, Probably the mixer. I mean, you can. It's because it makes making bread so much easier. There's a got a piece of pepper stuck in the back of my throat, but there's definitely some things that are really handy to have. Uh, like that fermenting crock sitting there. That's a little bit more specialized. I use it for making sauerkraut and crock pickles, but there's a lot of stuff that's really useful. But overall, I'd say probably the most useful one is the mixer. Keep most of your cast iron stored in your oven, but it causes a problem when you got to work out for you even start cooking. Yeah, either that or you just turn the oven on, forget you got it in there, then you got a big pile of hot iron to get out of the oven before you can put what you're trying to bake in there. That's why I like your KitchenAid. It's kind of like the AR-15 in the kitchen with all the attachments. Wash it down with a weed ram. I had a bottle of bourbon here within reach of me, and I don't know what I did with it. I must have picked it up and put it away for some reason. Besides, I got to go to work yet tonight, so probably best I don't. Yeah, it's so true. You forget it's in there. Yeah, I mean, I've done that quite a few times. Had pans and stuff in the oven and get it preheated for something else and forget all about it. The cat stole my bourbon. She might have. I mean, she's a thieving little wretch. Took me 2 weeks to find the $35 she stole from me that one time. Instead of stashing cash in your mattress, get Dubs cast iron in hers. It'd be a little bit tough to sleep on, I would think, having a whole pile of iron stuff in your mattress. Figured you had the storage problem fixed when you got a rack like Cast Iron Chaos, but I was wrong. Yeah, it's still never enough. You'll always end up with stuff piled on the floor, underneath the rack, hanging on the rack, nailed to the wall. Ends up taking over. And eventually, you're going to do something, get it all organized, and as soon as you do, you got to go digging through the damn thing to find one thing you're looking for, and you're right back where you started. You can scroll back on the video and see where you might have left it. No, I'm sure it disappeared long before the show. They must have actually got around to putting it back on the rack. Pulled the skillet out from under his seat. Yeah, my car's like that right now too. I got a waffle iron base. I think I got a couple of pans in there somewhere. I tend to carry tools around with me in the car from the last project working on the car, because it's best to have your tools with you just in case what you just fixed breaks again. Pretty sure I got a couple of skillets out there, and I got a waffle iron, like I said, a waffle iron base sitting on the seat. Stub your toe on a number 8 Puritan's more worried you crack the pan than your toe. I think the pan should be tougher than your toe, usually anyway. Not quite sure what I'm going to do for next week. But I'm sure we'll be doing something. Like I said, I should have that waffle iron done by then. We'll see how that turns out. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit tricky welding it because they are pretty thin. And I got another Griswold around here that I've had for quite a while. The hinge knob is busted off on one side of it, and you would think that'd be the thickest part of it, and it's thick around the rim of it, but most of it's just paper thin. That's going to be kind of a tough repair. I should go over auction site prices. Yeah, I got a bunch of them that I've saved. I usually kind of keep track of some of the prices and some of the neater stuff anyway. But I got to go through and sort some of those through. Sounds like a pretty good idea. Might have a couple of new things by next week. There's an in-person, actual live old-fashioned auction this weekend. I got to work that the night before and the night after, but the time works out, and it's close enough by that I should be able to do that without suffering too much lack of sleep, assuming the prices don't go entirely out of hand. A couple of cool things I was looking at though, so it might be nice. How's my booth doing? Not too bad. It's been kind of slow. It's usually a bit slow this year, through December into January. I guess February and March are a couple of their best months where I'm set up at. I guess people getting back their tax refunds. One of these days when your wallet gets thawed from the freeze your wife put on it, try and get a chicken fryer with a lid. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there, but never when you're out looking for them. Yep, may have forgotten to do my normal shot. Yeah, like I said, I got to work tonight, so probably not the best idea to be drinking. So, but next Tuesday though, I don't have to work. I don't have to go in after the show, so I'll probably sit here and get drunk off my ass and make for an interesting show. Either it'll be entertaining as hell, or just be me sitting here passed out. Found a set of 4 rollers for moving wood-burning stoves around. Did not know what I had. I've got one. It's a little three-wheel deal that you would put on you'd put it on the legs of your wood stove so you can move your stove around. 'Cause, yeah, a lot of people used to, when you had a summer kitchen, you'd set up the stove inside in the winter and wheel it out on the porch for the summer so it didn't get so damn hot in the house. Then if I post some pics on Facebook, I'd be able to sell them. Maybe I might have to. I'm gonna do sometime this spring. Do a little bit more purging and getting rid of some of the excess stuff that I got. Doesn't take too long to to end up accumulating extras, especially when things come in a lot of, 4 skillets and you want the one and you got 3 other ones. I saw a number 10 Indian head Dutch oven. Bet you I'd go for a pretty good price. Melanie Matson, good to see you. Just now checking in. Well, we're going to be wrapping up in a few minutes. You got to miss me sitting here munching on steak and baked potato for most of the show. Probably not the most thrilling thing to watch a fat man eat, but, well, if he pays your money, you takes your chances, I guess. Yeah, it's a 3-roller deal. Yeah, it's I don't have it right handy, but yeah, it's got a little three little caster wheels, and I forget the name on it. It says right on it that it's a stove dolly. I'm knocking my mouse off, ain't you, cat? Gotten in the habit of always turning off my keyboard so the cat doesn't randomly push buttons on me. But even with keyboard off, she'll step on the mouse and I'll have left the cursor parked on something live and come back, and it takes 10 minutes to figure out what the hell the computer's doing. That's a rare one. Yeah, I bet an Indian head Dutch oven would go for quite a bit of money, especially if it had a lid for it. 1,600? Yeah, it's not surprising. I have the Griswold pictures posted on my page. Ah, cool. Yeah, I'll go have a look at them. Yeah, with the lids, they definitely go for a lot more because square lids are tough to find. Have a cat that loves to type. Yeah, and she's great for sneak attack on the keyboard. You just get done typing something, sit back, and before I can reach off and flick the little switch to turn it off, she'll just dive bomb the damn thing. Screw everything up. My cat's lovely on the mouse and pressing the buttons. Yeah, she'll come tear ass across the room, dive onto the back of the chair, dive onto the keyboard, and then around behind the monitor. My monitor is sitting on kind of it's a sideboard here in the kitchen. On the Lodge Logic Grill Griddle. Still in the box for $11 good. Well, that's a pretty damn good price on them. May come home, find a brand new truck in the yard, compliments of the kitty. Yeah, I mean, one of these days I'm going to forget to shut everything down and there'll be something ordered. Either that or figure out how to actually use a keyboard. What's this $800 charge on my credit card? Oh, it was the cat. Cat keeps attacking the mouse when I use the TV. She watches movement, runs across the room and attacks the TV. Yeah, she likes to watch hoof trimming videos for some reason. Nate the Hoof Guy and the Hoof GP trimming cows' hooves. And she'll just lock right onto it and just sit there and stare at them. She's enthralled by that for some reason. Enjoyed the show and all the chat. Well, thank you, Dan. It's always good to have you around. Like I said, hopefully it wasn't too boring just sitting here watching me eat and chatter about industrial baking equipment. But that's what we do around here, just kind of hang out and whatever comes up, and we'll chat about it. Been here for an hour already, so shut her down pretty soon. Kind of starting to cool off a little bit in here. Like I said, it's almost 40 degrees out. A big roaring fire at the stove, you can definitely feel it. Yours makes a strange clicking noise, and bam, she takes off and launches. Cats are quite the beast to have around. Well, you like watching Nate the Hoof Guy too? Yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, it's strangely interesting, watching somebody trim a cow's hoof. I don't know why, but they are. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back next week, like I said, with a little bit of luck. I might have a couple of cool new things. If not, well, I'll still have the money that I would have spent on them, and I'll find something else. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys later. Hope you enjoyed the show. I know I enjoyed the meal that I made, so at least one of us had some fun. And I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.